Very warm afternoon to all of you who have joined us today for the day 7 of this revolutionary international webinar series by Afghanistan Homeopathic Medical Association in collaboration with Homeopathy 360. We are glad that you are being associated with us since past 6 days for this webinar series, and we hope that you liked as well as you enjoyed all the sessions till date. And before I begin the session, I want to thank all the organizers as well as the speakers of this series who have been there present throughout the series, and with us all the speakers, Mr. Manish Jain, the director of Bijan Publishers, Dr. Ubadullah Al-Hashmi sir, the founder and president of AHMA Afghanistan Homeopathic Medical Association, and NCP LMHI International, and Professor Dr. Kavita R. Chandak ma'am, who is the board of directors of Afghanistan Homeopathic Association, and also the professor in the Department of Repertory at PD Jain Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital. Also, I, Dr. Yashika Arora, feel grateful enough to be the part of this series as well as the moderator of today's session for all of you. And I just want to introduce you about AHMA as well as Homeopathy 360 in short. I hope everybody already knows about Afghanistan Homeopathic Medical Association now, which was founded in 2018 as the first Afghanistan Homeopathic Association. And they are the Afghanistan's leading homeopathic charity committed to the promotion and practice of homeopathy. We at AHMA are trying our level best to collaborate with all the associations, all the organizations, all the committees, all over the world, working for the upliftment, for the betterment of homeopathy. They are doing something. So we are trying our level best to unite all of them together on one platform of our HMA. So for that, we have also started our Facebook group, our WhatsApp group, our Telegram group. You can also join us there of HMA, as well as groups or on WhatsApp and Telegram. You are all invited, as well as we try to provide high quality homeopathic care for everyone who needs it, and patient access there, training, research. And for this training point of view, we have started this series, and we hope that we will be continuing it further. And also, I would like to just you about Homeopathy 360. As you all know, it's an online portal of Bijan Publishers, and it is a platform where we publish all the updates about homeopathy, as well as articles, research papers, and evidence-based reports related to any of the topics on this website, that is www.homeopathy360.com. And we try our level best to connect homeopaths and broadcast their talent through these webinars, through these seminars, and through their research papers everywhere. We try to promote all through our social media portals as well as through WhatsApp groups. And before I begin, I just want to tell you that we have a chat box on your screens wherein you can type your questions and send to us by pressing the button next to the box. We will be running a question answer session at the end of the webinar, wherein you can clarify your queries. So I hope it's high time that I should introduce you to the man behind this series, as well as we have the speaker of the day, who is one of the organizing member of this series. So I would like to first invite Dr. Ubadullah Al-Hashmi sir to say a few words about today's session and HMA. He is the homeopathic consultant and the medical director and homeopathic physician at Afghan Mercy Hospital, Afghanistan, and also the national contact person of Afghanistan for LMHI, that is Liga Association. So I would like to invite him first. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yashika. Thank you, Bijan Publisher Company, and Professor Dr. Kavita to being with us, and for organizing this special event for the homeopaths and the lovers of the homeopaths who want to learn and who want to get some knowledge about homeopathy. And this is a great pleasure for all homeopaths who join this program and who want to see the recording. I think that will be very, very great opportunity for the people who are learning from you, like you, Dr. Kavita, and like Dr. Michael Frost, and all speakers of this webinar series and other programs. Afghanistan Homeopathic Medical Association aim to deliver the right message, the right knowledge to the homeopaths worldwide. If it is in Afghanistan base or in the world. The association name, because this has been founded on Afghanistan base, but and gradually we have been promoted, and thank you all the members who joined AHMA, and on this.
I think some connective issue, ma'am. Can you see, sir?
No, Yashika.
Okay. Sir, एक बार refresh कर लीजिए page. I request the audience to please wait a second. Sir will join us again. Okay. Sir, refresh your page, please. He has joined us again.
Really sorry everyone, because of disconnection of electricity here. You know, Afghanistan is a very low economic country. Sometimes the electricity has been disconnected. Therefore, I'm really sorry for all audience and the organizers. Afghanistan Homeopathic Medical Association, I want to repeat again, the aim is to deliver the right message, the right knowledge, and for the development of the homeopathy, it works only. And we are not doing business on homeopathic doctors and on patients. The message is, the final message is, we want to teach, we want to learn. Therefore, very in short time and short journey of this AHMA, we become able to have some international legends like everyone knows about. I'm really lucky, not I'm lucky, but the homeopathy is lucky to have this platform for everyone. And homeopathy is my choice, my own choice, and therefore I want to work for the homeopathy from the deep of heart. And the slogan of the AHMA is the equal property for to all homeopaths. Thank you so much, Dr. Yashika, and thank you, Professor Dr. Kavita, for being with us today. And just we want to learn from you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We were glad to get a great message from you, and I always see you motivating and positive for all, for and doing each and everything you can do for the sake of homeopathy. It's very less time that I've known you. It's not much time, and during this lockdown period, I would say. So it was I was lucky to have and know you about HMA as your presence, and then you are actually one of the legends, I would say. We have in HMA. You are also one of the legends. So I'm glad to be in touch with you. Thank you so much, sir. And also, I think it's high time that I should introduce you to the speaker today.
Your voice is echo.
Yes, sir.
यशिका, आपका वॉइस इको हो रहा है.
Yeah.
ये मे बी
अभी ठीक हो गया?
हाँ अभी ठीक है. Now I can hear. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. अभी ठीक है? Yes.
हाँ.
So सर मैंने आपका ऑडियो ऑफ किया है, वो थोड़ा सा इको कर रहा है. सर ऑडियो ऑफ रख लीजिए अपना प्लीज. सर ऑडियो ऑफ रखिएगा. थैंक यू सो मच. सो वी हैव प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर कविता चंदक मैम. शी इज द क्लासिकल होम्योपैथ BHMS PG NIH and PG Home London, and also she has completed her MD Home PhD from France, and she is right now professor in the Department of Repertory at PD Jain Homeopathic Medical College, Parbhani. She has been an international speaker and trainer, advisory board member of Turkey Clinical Journal Istanbul, and also the board member of Afghanistan Homeopathic Medical Association, and she stood first merit in throughout Maharashtra in 1998, and also she has been a resource person in multiple conferences, presented many research papers and seminars in India as well as international conferences at London, America, UAE, various countries in Europe, South Africa, Mexico, Turkey, Russia, Greece, and many world congresses. She has also won the best thesis and the first rank in PG Home London 2013, for which she was felicitated at West University, London, UK. Her book Health versus Disease was released in America and also available at Amazon Kindle. She is running 2 clinics at Nagpur and a web clinic since 20 years. And she has a specialty in dealing with cases related to psychiatry, autism, infertility, allergic disorders, cancer, etc. She is also the director of Padmaja Welfare Foundation, an NGO working for health awareness in society. And she has received a lot of prestigious award for her medico-social contribution towards the society. She has also published 207 Marathi articles, 92 Hindi articles, 125 English articles in very reputed newspapers and different magazines, as well as international and national peer-reviewed journals. She has also written many articles for hpathy.com, Heritage, as well as many homeopathic journals. Her documentary was being made. Made on her by Nagpur Doordarshan TV in 2010, and also she has delivered more than 700 talk shows for non-medicos with the theme "Prevention is better than cure," and she has delivered more than 60 free webinars for various countries during this lockdown period. So we have a great personality with us, and it's always great to learn from her. So I welcome her and hand over the session to her. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Yashika. Your kind words were so nice, and I was feeling them so soothing that you just keep on talking, and I'll sit here to listen you all the time. I would love to do that. You and Dr. Hashmi, you people are really nice because you have a great heart. You can appreciate others. So, starting our session, thank you once again. And where are my PPTs? Here? Start presentation, should I press it? Okay, thank you, Yashika. Thank you. So friends, today we are going to talk about nosors and sarcos. When, why, how to use in practice. You know, we have every homeopath has some concepts and misconceptions about nosors and sarcos. We have different kingdoms in our homeopathy. We have plant kingdom, animal kingdom, then nosor, sarcod, imponderabilia. Nowadays, we are practicing more on synthetic origin kingdoms, which we call as a synthetic medicines. Like we are preparing the body organ remedies with the help of either some body organ or with the modern medicine. So, let me first talk about nosors and sarcos because there is a great confusion. To listen, it is really nice. To read, it is really nice. And nosor sarcos are really nice to understand, but it is very difficult to apply in the practice. So here I am today just to share how to apply these things in your practice. First of all, before starting the session, I should thank HMA, Dr. Obidullah Hashmi, Manish Jain sir, and Yashika Arora for providing their platform as well as their important time to us so that we can share our knowledge with you. And see, before starting my session, I just want to request you one thing. I'm not a great person to teach you anything. Everybody has knowledge, everybody knows everything about homeopathy. But I am here just to share my views on a specific subject in which I did a deep study and thought it may be beneficial for you. So please don't feel it as a boring lecture of a doctor. No, it's not a boring lecture of a doctor. It is a paricharcha where you will question, I will answer. So it's my turn now where I am talking. Later on, your turn will come. You will be talking and I will be answering. First of all, let us see what is homeopathy. We all know the bookish language. Homeopathy is the science which is based on the similar sufferings or the law of similia, where poison kills poison or like cures like. But now start thinking out of box. There is a different definition of homeopathy, and that is it is a wonderful science based on the natural law of similia, where we treat the others as we would wish to be treated. It's very simple. If you want to earn respect, first of all, you need to pay how to learn how to give respect to the others. Until and unless you won't empathize the agonies of the patient, you are not able to deal with the patient. So, homeopath is a person who emotionally, mentally, and with the mind get involved with the patient. And that's why we say that homeopathy is a science of individual. So, we don't treat on the generalities of the patient, we treat on the individuality of the patient. So, first of all, let me clear one thing that you are not going to treat the symptoms of the patient. You are going to treat the man beyond the symptoms, that is the immunity of the patient. This is our body. Human body has different organs, and every organ has to secrete some enzymes or hormones to keep the harmony of the body. And in that way, we perform our functions in a great and a appropriate manner. But is it really you? Just a combination of different hormones in your body, blood, and the bones? No. It is just a human body. Then what is you? This is the soul. In the other picture you can see here, this is the soul. Without soul, you are zero. And in homeopathy word, we can call it as a vital force. Once a patient asked me, Doctor, you people always talk about vital force, vital force. Where is this vital force? Can you show this to me? I simply answer him, Can you show me the air? You are breathing and you are alive just because of air. We pray, we trust in our God. But can you show me the God? No. Few things are there which are not visible, still they are there, and because of their existence, we are working. So, this is our vital force, this is our immunity, which is there in our body, and that's why we are working. But immunity gets disturbed if our physical body and its secretions get disturbed. Because body is the visibility of the mind. Body is the living function of the invisible mind. So it is necessary that body's harmony should be in a proper way. Now, how immunity gets damaged and how diseases occur. See, sometimes what happens? We always talk about that what is disease and what is health. Health is harmony, and what is disease? Disharmony of the health is disease. But how it happens? Which factors are there which attacks on our immunity and make us sick? So whenever you want to create a cure in your patient, remember, I'm using the word cure. I'm not using the word recovery. Because whenever you want to cure your patient, recovery is the temporary restoration of health and cure is the permanent restoration of health. If you want to cure your patient, you need to address his immunity and how we can address the immunity and why should we address the immunity. Now let us discuss this. Diseases are not only caused by substances like bacteria, viruses, fungi, toxic matters, etc., etc., as is the main belief in conventional medicine. Because what they feel, this disease is bacteria originated, give antibiotics, kill the bacteria, and there will be vanishing of the disease. No, it's not the truth. So, but that every substance can also cause an imprint in the energetic field of person. Which type of substances are these? So let us learn in depth. First is genetic transfer. Usually we get diseases in 3 different gateways, and the first gateway is genetic transfer. Child receives half of its genes from each parent. These imprints are not only from direct damage to the person, for example, by vaccination, a disease like influenza, but emotional trauma like death of a child, divorce, etc. can also be transmitted from the parents to the unborn child. It is not the disease itself or the positive substance that is transmitted, but rather the energetic imprint in the energetic field of the future father and the mother. So, whenever we have the genetic transfer, it is not only in a visible way, but sometimes the negative energy also travels through your genetic transfer. This second way of transfer, the second gateway of disease in our body is material transfer. Toxins can pass through the umbilical cord during pregnancy, including heavy metals, drugs the mother takes, alcohol, tobacco, toxin products in her food, etc. Once the baby is born, toxins can enter via its food, like breast or bottle feeding, by the inhaled air, for example, fresh paint on walls of the baby's room, then through the delicate permeable skin, like we apply shampoo, soaps, and different creams, paraffins, and apart from that, in India, I always get the patient who are suffering from skin rashes due to application of any particular oil for massage. So these are again the toxins, and by a few medications like antibiotics, anesthesia, vaccination, etc. So this is the material way in which the diseases enter in our body. And the third way is energetic transfer. How it is? Substances that are toxic can damage the unborn or young baby not only by their material toxicity but also by creating an imprint in the baby's energetic field, its vital energy. Diseases can do the same. They create their imprints on the energetic field of the patient, on the vital force of the patient. Toxic substances cause acute reaction when its concentration is high. Gradually, with the time, its concentration diminishes, causing decrease in toxic effects, and finally, its concentration or these toxins disappear completely. But the toxic substance can leave an energetic imprint that lasts even after the material substance is no longer present, especially after long-term exposure to the toxins. So, only removal of the cause is not the removal of the disease. For example, if your lab investigation is showing that you have E. coli bacteria in your urine and you prescribe some antibiotics, like any GP does this, and they prescribe the antibiotic and the report become negative. But does it mean that there are no toxins or there is no imprint of E. coli on the energetic field of the patient? Yes, it is there. So removal of this symptom is not the treatment. The treatment is something better than this removal. After this removal, you need to remove the imprints from the immunity of the patient, as well as you need to balance the normal secretions of the body for the permanent cure. And then you can say that we make the person healthy. Understand? Now, generally toxins can have lifelong effects if irreparable tissue damage has taken place, or if the toxin has provoked an energetic imprint in the energetic system, that is vital force of the patient. Now, how to remove them? There is a strategy. Strategy to improve immunity and to tune what is mistuned in your system. For that, we require two special forces. One is Nosode and second is our Sarcode. Nosode therapy has much in common with Cactopathy, or we can say Isopathy, because it uses homeopathic remedies made from a disease causing microbe or disease tissue. Of course, safely diluted so that no trace of the original substance remains inside. Nosol therapy is a very direct method for removing the imprints that a disease has left in energetic body of the patient. Patients often complain that they have never completely recovered after a particular disease. The administration of the Nosol for that disease can completely resolve such disturbance and restore the state of health as it existed before the disease. And that's why we have this rubric in our repertory, never been well since. And if you will see, we have almost polychrist remedy as well as Nosols in this, covering this rubric. The first person to test the animal poison and Nosols in human being was our pioneer Constantine Hering. In aphorism 26, the homeopathic law or therapeutic law of nature is mentioned, and it says a weaker dynamic affection is permanently extinguished in the living organism by a stronger one, if the latter, which different in kind, is very similar to the former in its manifestation. So now, why we should use Nosol is depend on this therapeutic law of nature. If you study it carefully, you will understand the deep relationship between Nosol and the therapeutic law of nature. If we clarify the therapeutic law of nature in detail, it says both the affections should be dynamic in nature, similar in their manifestation, but should be different in kind. The latter one should be stronger than the former one. And this is the universal law. The stronger will survive and the latter and the weaker one will be distinguished by the stronger one. Two similar diseases cannot exist in organism at the same time. The disease which is more stronger will take place and the disease which is little bit weaker as compared to the other one will be kicked off from the vital energy of the patient. And hence we need to apply this logic in homeopathy as well as in Nosol therapy. The stronger will annihilate the weaker one. If the system is attacked by pathogenic agents, the defensive mechanism must include more powerful noxious agent. As per the therapeutic law of nature, only the stronger will survive, which can fight and destroy the attacking organism. And here is the role of Nosol. The preparation of a Nosol involves a suction of several dilutions of biological material, usually by factor of 100, which is then administered to prevent or treat a health disorder. Nosol functions as prophylaxis. When to use Nosol? Now, I gave you the introduction, what is Nosol. Now coming to the point, when to use these Nosols in your practice. First of all, when totality of symptom indicate Nosol. On the indications of the actual symptom of each Nosol, that is on symptom similarity and the totality. See, if you are getting all the colors of rainbow present in rainbow, then there is the totality of the color. And like that only, if you have the totality of the patient after your correct case taking, then if you feel that in this condition only Nosol is suitable, then only prescribe the Nosol. The second indication of Nosol is you can use it as an intercurrent remedy. When the indicated medicine does not add up to the satisfaction, use Nosol. Because Nosol work as a catalyst, it makes the constitutional disease to work fast and work strongly. Third indication is when you have the paucity of the symptom. For initiating the treatment in conditions where you get only one or two clear-cut symptoms, like we get in one-sided diseases, where remedy selection is really tough. Prescribe Nosol to open up the case. I apply this logic nowadays in my various COVID positive cases. Because when patient or his family giving history you on the phone, you are not able to answer question so many things. You have to take only consider one or two symptoms and you need to prescribe. So whenever I prescribed any remedy for my COVID-19 positive cases, I always kept in my mind that there should be one Nosol there. Messy symptoms. When you have lot of symptoms, sometimes like in psychiatric cases, Patient talks and just talks. They have lot of things to explain, and it is difficult for us to take the appropriate rubrics. In cases where there are indications for many medicines, but none of them shows a clear picture. As you have lot of medicines or lot of rubrics in the patient, how will you decide the remedy? Like, I give you the example. I have a patient, she is suffering from a very unique psychiatric syndrome. I'm forgetting the name. It is something Munchausen like name, in which the patient usually face the sickness and they feel that they are the patient, and for that they need to, they want sympathy, they seek attention. So I told that patient to send her symptoms me on mail, because while talking on the Zoom, it was difficult to write everything. So I just told her to summarize and send her symptoms to me. Can you imagine how much long that email was? She sent me the email Word docs. The docs file was 16 pages file. I thought it was better that I could have done one more Zoom session with her, because this 16 pages, reading 16 pages is totally messy for you, is totally difficult for you. And one more thing is that how to pick the rubrics from the 16-page data. So sometimes we have various rubrics and no rubric is pointing any particular remedy. In that case, please use the nosode to open up the case with high potency. As per my experience, in such cases, I usually go with in psychiatric cases, I usually go with Cifelinum tenuem, and in hormonal imbalancing or gynec cases, I usually open up the case with Medurinum tenuem. But this is just my experience or my suggestion. It's not the rule. You have to decide as per your patient and your opinion. Then next indication for nosode is to remove miasmatic blockage. For eradicating the miasmatic background, in chronic cases, we need nosodes. Then never been varicine. As I already told you, when the patient experiences the whole disorder is after some specific illness or state, however happened long back. Like today also we get lot of patients, they usually says, doctor, once I was caught up with the flu, and from that I am suffering from bone ache. That time my general practitioner gave me some medicine and I was okay within 3-4 days, but I don't understand why I am getting this body ache till now. So here you need to understand that painkiller remedy must have suppressed the fever and the pain inside the bones. And now the patient is suffering from the hadita. In Hindi we call it as haddi ka bukhar. It means from this superficial level you have just vanished or cleared the fever, but there is fever inside the bone, because now patient has the feverish feeling and lack of stamina, pain, body, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia for long time. So how to deal in such cases? In such cases, you have to go to the timeline of the patient to understand the life space of the patient. And if you get some point from where this disorder actually started up, please go and prescribe the nosode related to that. Like if it happens after flu, then please don't feel hesitate to prescribe influenza in high potency. The next indication for nosode is when family or past history indicates. When there is a family history or past history of diseases like tuberculosis, cancer, etc., etc., and as a result, the patient does not improve well on the indicated medicine. So you need to just clear his background. And again, by doing this thing, you are just clearing the imprints of the toxins which he got from his genetic transfer. Though he is not the sufferer right now, but he is just a carrier for that. So you need to clear it again. So you can use high potency of nosodes here. Next indication is when vitality is poor responding. When convalescence after an acute disease is unduly slow due to lowered vitality, patients do not react to well-selected remedy, put nosodes. Sometimes what happens, we feel that this patient is suffering from particular disease and I know that his remedy is pulsatilla. Suppose I prescribe him pulsatilla 1M and I got little better, little results. Then I prescribe, I go up to higher potencies, ascending potencies as the law given by Kent. given by Herring. Herring used this method, ascending potencies, first in 1805. He suggested to use 30, 200, 1M and later on 10M. So I also follow this in my practice. But even after the correct remedy and higher potencies, still then I am just getting few betterment in the patient, but not the desired effect. Now what to do? Why patient is not responding to your medicine? Because his vitality is really poor. His vitality is sleeping mode. So you need to arouse the patient. You need to shake the vitality so that patient should react. So in such cases, you need to put the Nosode. And one more, we have one more rubric in our repertory, general's reaction lacquer. And if you will see, we have various nosodes in this rubric, like medorinum, soranum, tuberculinum. Then we have the gratinium, syphilinum, carcinosin, protozoa, and variolinum. Almost all nosodes are there. Next indication for nosode is to open up the layers. Suppose you have a case with history of various suppressions, like physical suppression, emotional suppression, drugs intake, everything. And you are confused with which layer to hit first. Just put a nosode by considering the miasmatic background. It pulls out the suppressed symptom on the surface. Nosode help to throw pathology from center to periphery. You will get the clear picture of the patient and then you can prescribe in the second visit of the patient. The next indication for nosode is in cases where there is tendency of relapse. One more indication is to get clear picture of patient. In cases where well-selected remedies apparently fail to achieve the adequate results, then a dose of nosode reorganizes the symptoms and makes the picture clear. Then next indication for nosode is you can use it as a prophylactic for the prophylaxis of infectious diseases. Since they are made for same pathogenetic material as the disease, so they seem to offer more possibility of mimicking the disease condition and thus justifying the treatment through homeopathic law of cure. For example, we have the pertussin for whooping cough, we have diphtherinum for diphtheria, we have morbillinum to prevent measles, we have meningococcum in cases of meningitis, then we have the influenza to prevent the flu or to keep the protect yourself from the flu. Then we have pneumococcinum. Pneumococcinum is the really good remedy even in COVID-19 cases, because when patient has lung fibrosis, cough, cold, and you know that very soon he will land in the pneumonia, so you can start pneumococcinum to prevent this pneumonia condition. Once suppose the patient is already in pneumonia, then you have the other medicines like pulmobultis and Brineia, phosphorus, other medicines to treat it. If tuberculinum bovinum be given in 10M, 50M and CM potencies, 2 doses of each at long interval, all children and young people who have inherited tuberculosis may be immune from their inheritance and their resiliency will be restored. This is written in the lectures of Homeopathic Mater Medica by Dr. K on page number 1000. See, it is really applicable for India in present scenario, because we have the most patients of tuberculosis worldwide are present in India, and every city has lot of big tuberculosis wards. So if we follow this protocol in our country, maybe we can eradicate tuberculosis from our country. WHO should take step for this. Now either begin or end up the case with nosode. See, this is just my suggestion from the clinical experience, as Talwarts also suggested this, but still I would like you to take your decision as per your patient and the present condition. So it is not the rule, but just a suggestion that either you should begin the case or end up the case with high potency of nosodes. How to select the required nosode? Now a question arises, how to select the required nosode and which nosode is applicable in a particular case? It is a difficult task. The selection of nosode depends to a large extent on the totality of the symptoms exhibited by the patient. If are indications for one particular nosode, then there is no difficulty. The choice then usually lies between the first four common nosodes, that are Sorainum, Tuberculinum, Meadow, and Syphilinum. Let me tell you the indications of Sorainum. The patient of Sorainum has a very poor resistance to acute diseases, and there has been a progressive decrease of vitality in the chronic case. The patient has a low vitality, a poor circulation, and is hypersensitive to cold. The patient has a very unhealthy looking skin with a greasy face or a tendency to acute acne and other similar skin eruptions. They are usually thin, ectomorphic. They always have a very harsh, dry, cold skin which gave the impression of being dirty. The indications for medullarium are where there is a history of chronic bronchitis with or without asthmatic attacks. Friends, you remember, it is written in our literature that you cannot cure asthma until and unless you don't use the antipsychotic remedy. Because asthma is always always has the psychotic background behind it. And here you can see how medullarium has this indication. But the best remedy for asthma is natrum sulph. With soft tissue rheumatism like fibrositis, then suppressed menses with hormonal pills. If you have this history in your patient that she has been suppressed her menses various times, not only once, one or twice, it doesn't matter. It doesn't harm our body a lot. But if the lady has taken OCP for a long time just to extend the menses, just to suppress the menses, or to prevent the pregnancy, then in such cases, you need to open up the case with high potency of medullarium. Then in cases of PCOD and fibroid due to hormonal suppression. Discharges are greenish yellow and acrid, smell of fish brine, and have a characteristic sour smell. These are the indications for medullarium. Stiffness, lameness, and soreness characterize psychotic miasm, and these three together often make the miasmatic totality of psychosis. This is again the indication of the king of psychosis, that is medullarium. Then coming to syphilinum. The syphilitic miasm is a destructive one. On the physical level, it manifests as ulceration, wasting, and congenital malformation. On the psychological level, it can produce madness of various kinds. They have fixed ideas. The mental defects such as contempt for others, blind, unbridled jealousy due to extreme disrupt, hatred, resentment, and contempt for herself and positions. And see, in syphilis, you will always get the unsymmetrical face. Then the indication of tuberculinum. Tuberculinum patients are sensitive to extreme heat and are particularly sensitive to any lack of oxygen in the atmosphere relieved by moving. Another characteristic is a change of temperament from very good tempered to being an individual who is very disagreeable, angry, or weeping easily. Sudden mood swing. School children headaches usually respond very well to a dose of tuberculinum. Which is the other medicine for school children headache? Nitramur. Now, let me share the doses of nosol. How to prescribe. If the indications are strong or you are prescribing it as a constitutional one, go with high potency. If prescribed as complementary or intercurrent remedy, then please go with 30 or 200. That is medium potencies. Do not repeat the nosode till 15 to 21 days. Don't put nosodes in high potency if the vitality of patient is not strong. So you have to, first you need to know your patient thoroughly, then only you will be able to put the nosode. Otherwise, if you will put the nosode just because Dr. Chandak has suggested us, then you will lose your patient. Just visit his timeline, understand his life space, and then take your own decision. Now, what made me to think of nosode? Here I am sharing a beautiful case with you. This case I presented as a research paper in Germany Liga at Leipzig, 72nd World Homeopathy Congress. 2.5 years ago, a 35 years female visited me with complaint of frequent attacks of burning micturition. She belonged to a poor family and her parents could not give the dowry. Hence, she was being tortured a lot. She was bearing tormentation at home without any oppose. She suffered strong UTI 3-4 days after marriage, took medications for that, but still it was recurrent. If she uses public toilets, such as in marriage halls, she immediately suffer burning pain while urination. Lumbago was a constant complaint. So obviously, Staphysagra 200 BD given for 5 days. Any homeopath would have done the same thing which I did. Recurrence of UTI after 2 months. She said, शादी के बाद से ये बीमारी लगी मुझे, पहले कुछ नहीं था. Staphysagra 1M, 10M given as per the need of the case. Good relief was there, but still recurrence with less severity and frequency. It means that I was only able to provide the palliation or either I can say the partial cure, but no permanent cure was there. Then I tried colocin, cantharis and other few medicines like lycopodium. Cure was still far away. Finally, retest taking was done. My mind stuck on 2 things. First is constitutionally selected remedy failed. Relief was there but no cure. And second was never been well since after marriage. This made me to think of Nosode. After careful study, she was given Soranum 30 BD for 5 days, followed by Staphysagra 10M 1 dose, and no recurrence since last 1.5 years. The patient is stable now, there is no UTI. Ultimately, I required Nosode to tell my constitutional remedy to work properly, to provide the strength to my constitutional remedy. Like it is like that, we cannot eat only chapatis. We need some vegetable, we need some cereals or dal or salad raita for that. And this Nosode is our vegetable dal salad raita. Soranum is beneficial where cystitis is due to diabetes, renal stone, HIV and spinal injuries. It means when you have a major medical illnesses associated with cystitis, then you can think about Soranum. Now let me talk about Sarcode. This was all about Nosode. I know that it is really difficult to understand Nosodes in just one session. But try, I just gave you the clue. You just listen it again and again, watch this video on YouTube and try to apply this in your practice. When you will get results, you will gradually retain the whole knowledge. Now let me talk about Sarcodes. To stimulate specific organ system, homeopathic remedies made from the same organ can be used with the actual tissue taken from the organs of sheep, calf or pig. Such therapy is especially useful when an organ is damaged or functioning at a low energy level, usually at the same time as deeper homeopathic treatment. The hormonal secretion from endocrine and exocrine glands, as also secretion of mammary glands, are put under the Sarcodes. We have few Sarcodes in our practice like adrenalinum, cholesterinum, then corticinum, corticotropinum, DNA, folliculum, histaminum, insulinum, euphorinum, ovininum, testosterone, and many more. When to use? The main question is when to use, how to apply it in the practice. When disease is localized but disturbing generality of the patient. For example, suppressed menses, PCOD or thyroidema, where disease is related to one specific organ, but the whole body has to suffer. When you get the feel that by treating the positive organ, you are treating the whole body. In other words, we need Sarcodes when the whole body unitedly talk about the common symptoms arising from a part. Like, for example, if any lady complaining of weight gain, obesity, mood swings and mental irritation just because of PCOD, then you cannot say that I will address only this PCOD. You need to address the whole person because you are observing the symptom in the whole personality of the patient, but the origin of the disease is in the ovary and the pelvic organs. So here you need to address the pelvic organs. Sarcode is needed to tune what is mistuned. The sarcode is prepared from healthy tissue or a part. That tissue has a useful and healthy function. Healthy tissue function in an appropriate and perfect way. No hyperfunction, no hypofunction. To work properly, perfectly and appropriately is its aim. So does the sarcodes do. A sarcode is prepared from healthy tissue, so it has a direct relation to physiology. The physiological process or phenomena is the function of a sarcode. Most of the words related to physiology are sarcode explaining words. For example, nutrition, energy, filtration, metabolism, then digestion, power, strength, coordination, cooperation, handling, caring, etc. etc. They use lot of words from science while talking. Their conversation itself tells you that they are in severe need to tune the mistuned part. For example, you know doctor, listen this statement carefully. You know doctor, I feel weakness as my immunity is low. Patient talks about immunity. It's our medical word, but still patient is using the scientific words. You know doctor, I feel weakness as my immunity is low. For good immunity, the diet must be nutritious. During this COVID period, I have started taking balanced diet, multivitamins and proper sleep. Ultimately, for perfect health, I have to be disciplined. So this is the way of talking of the sarcode patients. The second example is, my body is so delicate. If I eat wrong food, I get loose motions. My body cannot tolerate toxicity. They always use the word or the medical words which they are too much familiar. Purpose of sarcode is, my functions must be proper, perfect and appropriate as it is required, neither less or nor more. And that's why we always feel that whenever Stalwarts has suggested, whenever you put carcinosin in any case and you don't get the desired result, you can prescribe folliculinum in such cases. Because on the same line, my functions must be proper, perfect and appropriate. Because carcinosin and folliculinum both have the characteristic symptom fastidiousness in their nature. But there is a great difference. Nozodes, in carcinosin, there is fastidiousness because of long-term parental domination, long-term disciplined life, and they have always been told since their childhood, don't do this, put it here, don't touch it, be disciplined, talk like this, sit like this. So this is the body language and the talk and this fastidiousness of the nosode. But folliculinum has the fastidiousness because it is the characteristic features of the sarcodes. They always want everything perfect and in a perfect manner. Why to use the sarcodes? To complement constitutional medicines if they are not fully resolving issue. Just to support, dhakka marna. To support organs for their betterment. For example, here I will talk about thyroidinum. It is our sarcode and I think it is the most used sarcode in homeopathic practice. Little obese lady, chronic diarrhea, stools are not well formed, easy fatigue, tendency to recurrent cold. There is tendency to fibroid tumor of breast and uterus. See, while my explanation, I always love to talk about Matra Medica and I always love to give some keynotes for your practice. So remember this remedy because though it is a sarcode, but its area or its working area is not limited until the throat or the hormonal level only. It has a long effect and various good impact on your whole personality. You can use this remedy in disorders of pregnancy, especially when there is abortion at 3rd month. You can control the vomiting, edema of legs, hypertension, palpitation. In short, we can use this remedy in eclampsia of pregnancy too. There is deficiency of milk is associated with return of menses. It is a remedy to be considered in case of arrested development in children. See, it is a very good remedy in cases of arrested growth physically and mentally. The physically you will get there is failure of thrive, that is, if the child is 13 years old and he will look just like 8, 9 years old, there is no good weight or no good height as appropriate for the age. So you can use the thyroidinum remedy in such cases. And you can use this remedy even in the mental retardedness of cases. Then enuresis in weakly children who are nervous and irritable. You can use thyroidinum in fibroid tumors of breast. Contraindicated in tubercular patients, causes further decrease in the weight. So do not put this remedy in cases of tuberculosis. It is efficiently controls slow oozing in threatened abortion, and it is the best remedy in cases of menorrhagia, metrorrhagia as well as amenorrhea. In vomiting of pregnancy, give early morning before patient wakes up. And the other good remedy for pregnancy vomiting is, along with thyroidinum, you can prescribe is Symphoric Arthus. Convulsion in newborn babies without any cause. If there is no pathology and everything is fine and you are helpless, now how to prescribe, what to prescribe, if the patient is consulting you, if the parents is consulting you, just start with thyroidinum. For vomiting and chronic diarrhea of children, thyroidinum in low potency is useful in distressing itching of psoriasis. Apart from the use of thyroidinum 30 or 200 will not only prevent grey hair but help in restoring natural color. Give 30 potency for 1 month daily and then follow with 200 potency every week for 1 month, and repeat the same cycle for 6 to 7 months as per the need and the present condition of the patient. You will definitely get good results. So one remedy and lot of functions. See, I just gave you the example of one sarcode. From this, you can imagine how the other sarcodes must be helpful for the normal secretions and in other disorders of the body. Now the other remedy, this is again a sarcode. I'll explain in short. Ovinina. This is the ovarian extract and used in this suffering caused by excision of ovaries. If any lady is consulting you for PCOD, even after the surgical removal of PCOD in earlier, but still if there is relapse, then your remedy is Ovinina. It is a good remedy for nervous breakdown in women at climacteric. Use it in the menopause. It is useful for many of climacteric disturbances as well as in ovarian cysts, and the other useful remedy for such condition is Orchitina. Sometimes various ladies, patients, tell me that doctor, after hysterectomy or after menopause, I feel that I am no more woman now. I have lost my femininity. So if you want to increase the libido in such cases in women, then please prescribe Ovininum or Orchitina and make them young always. Then we have few other sarcodes. These are the matridonal remedies prepared from the body of the mother. That is human placenta. There is a feeling as though they are not accepted. They cannot connect with the world. They are always in their own world. And that's why we feel we use this remedy mostly in cases of autism and ADHD. The patient does not feel safe in the world, feels isolated from the world. Separation anxiety is there. See how posology proves itself in every case. When we deliver the child, later on we deliver the placenta. And then we cut the umbilical cord and we make the placenta and the fetus separate. That's why we get the separation anxiety in this remedy. Then second is amniotic fluid. See, what is the characteristic of water? Either it will stagnate or it will flow freely. Like that only, amniotic fluid patient always want freedom. They always want to go here and there, wandering, moving. Either strange, stagnate of need or run as a water. Breathing issues, but they enjoy to be in the water. If any parent is consulting you with their child either for ADHD or autism, and they are complaining that child has lot of restlessness, he is just running here and there in the home, cannot sit at one place, and all the time he loves to play in the water, think about amniotic fluid. The next remedy is umbilicus humanus, that is umbilical cord. It is again a great remedy to make the patient realize the reality, because they don't feel connected with the earth. They don't feel that they are the part of this world. Useful in children with difficulties making contacting with the world. And we can use this remedy to bring a very beautiful bond between parents and the child. You can use this remedy in cases of absent mother syndrome or abandoned child syndrome or absent father syndrome. Then Lacumanum. We all know about this remedy. It is prepared from the mother's milk. Physically awkward children, clumsy, ungrounded people, feels alone, forsaken, isolated, lacks concentration, and detached person. So I always use this remedy in the patient when they visit me for the detachment. They have detached with their parents, with their society, with their everybody. They are not reaching out to anyone. And all the matridonal remedies which are prepared from the mother's body, though they are sarcode, but still they have the heightened senses, hypersensitive. We have few more sarcodes in our homeopathic world now. They are modern remedies, like we have acetylcholamine, we have ACTH, we have GABA, we have dopamine, serotonin. All these are the ultimately remedies prepared from the natural physical secretions of our body. So they are the sarcodes. Even all the animal poisons which we are using, they are the healthy secretions of particular animal. Like we have the lachesis, which is the healthy secretion of the lachesis. It is not the poison or it is not the venom for the snake. It is a venom for us, but still we don't consider it as a sarcode because the origin is pathogenetic. Now, hormonal imbalancing. If amenorrhea is the result of hormonal imbalancing due to PCOD or thyroid disturbance, then there is a role of sarcode. The useful remedies are pituitrinum and thyroidinum. If mens is suppressed either by anti-cancerous or antibiotics, the remedy will be polygonum hydropyperovis. If amenorrhea is due to high steroid doses, then don't forget to use the sarcodes, corticosteroid and corticotropin. It will again reset the appropriate function and the appropriate secretion of the body. There is one remedy, that is medulla-ossininum or bone marrow. It plays an important role in formation of bone tissue. It controls the whole organic system of human being. Bone marrow gives a power to a person to do what he needs to do in this world. Application. To create balance in the bone marrow, support any cancer due to connection with stem cells, it regenerates cells. Now you got my point. The stem cells which now allopathy world is promoting, that you should preserve the stem cell of your child for the future result. We have these stem cells in our homeopathy almost since last 70-80 years. We have this remedy bone marrow. It is useful in inflammation and cancer of bones, after radiation or breast cancer. Depletion of cortisol causes imbalance in bone marrow. So before prescribing bone marrow, don't forget to prescribe cortisol sarcode. Nosodes and sarcodes, basically they work to provide a good immunity to us. Now what is their relationship with the immunity? Every disease is the outcome of derangement of vital force. When it happens, the normal secretion of the body, such as hormones and enzymes, get disturbed. Once a hormonal level is shaken by disease, you suffer from endocrinal dyscrasia. And endocrinal axis is the master key. Our body maintains the harmony by secretion of hormones and enzymes. The proper balance between all physiological secretions of body is the real health. It is the God's gift to us. When any substance entering through genetic, material or energetic transfer in body, the vital force gets loaded with toxins. Here is the beginning of pathology. The molecular imprints of these toxins work as a miasm and creates the ground for diseases. Now you got the modern concept of miasm. What is miasm? These are the molecular imprints because of these three gateways of transfer. Normal physiological secretions undergoes hypo or hypofunction. For restoration of health, reversal of pathology is mandatory. Now you have to run back. You have to walk back. From pathology, you have to walk back to the physiology with the help of Charcot and Nosal. The first thing to be addressed is how to make body secrete the hormones again in a proportionate ratio to achieve the permanent cure. Endocrine is the first layer in order of importance to health. Hence, removal of the disease imprint and balancing organ should be the first step. For example, suppose any lady consulting you for PMS, dysmenorrhea, PCOD or uterine fibroids as well as eczema. Balancing the hormone would take priority over addressing the skin conditions. In fact, by balancing the top layer, that is endocrine system in this case, the another layer spontaneously resolve, that is eczema. Second example is mood disorder, which might have been considered a neurological imbalance, can commonly arise from hormonal imbalance. What is the strategy? Focus the reason why patient come to visit you. Treat his primary reason for visiting you. Check his timeline, collect the history, see the exposure of toxins, remove the molecular imprint from the vitality with Nozod and anti-miasmatic remedy, prescribe constitutional remedy, support the particular organ with physiological secretion has been imbalanced with the Charcot. Here I am going to share a beautiful case, clinical case with you. A 40 years lady visited me for vaginal candida infection. She had itching, discharges and irregular menses. She underwent various treatments for the same before meeting me. Every time she experienced temporary relief. Why? Allopathy and homeopathy both have particular treatment for candida infection. Still there was recurrence. While investigating the timeline, I came to know that she had postponed her menses various times throughout her life by taking OCP. Hormonal blockage was the obstacle in recovery. Candida albicans in high potency was prescribed to clear the imprint from the vitality, which relieved her discharge and itching. But what about her irregular menses? To balance the hormones, folliculinum 200, one dose every 15 days, was prescribed for 2 months along with her constitutional remedy, which finally closed the case. The other case, a 21 years old guy visited me with a complaint of psoriasis since last 10 years at 15th May 2018. Big patches were observable on his abdomen, elbow joints and on legs. No burning. He has obesity since childhood. He had been prescribed steroids for psoriasis. He was born with cesarean section due to large hair. He suffered from cerebral palsy at birth. He is lefty. He said his right side of body is weak. In childhood, he frequently visited his pediatrician for cough, cold and fever. He started walking at the age of 2 years, delayed milestone. He is quite introverted person, never asked for anything. Academically good, masters in mathematics. He is not too much concerned about the psoriasis. His mother said that they shifted to China for 1 year when he was 10 years old. There, he used to go for swimming class in school once in a week. She observed the first patch there only. He likes spicy food, no constipation or any other issue related to urine or sweat. History of mother was, she induced abortion in first pregnancy and it took place with copper IUD. Patient is her second issue. From third pregnancy, she delivered a child who died in 2 days. She could never conceive later on. Patient is the single child. On observation, I found severe gynecomastia. You can see here the patches of psoriasis as well as gynecomastia. See the breast, women-like breast in the men. The patches. For that, I considered the following rubrics like mind, talking slow, learning to talk, weakness, right side of the abuse of allopathic medicine, hypertrophy of mammary, obesity, ability for mathematics, mind casual approach because he was not concerned about the treatment. From food and drinks general chapter, I consider one rubrics pungent desires. Then eruption, psoriasis and paralysis face one side. And many remedies came up like natrium, sulfur, phosphorus, nux vomica, etc. By addressing superficial layer, skin and dealing with psoriasis is not sufficient. The root cause behind psoriasis needed to be addressed. In this case, mother has syphilitic tendency and the patient himself has hormonal imbalance. Mother had copper IUD for years before this pregnancy, but still her vitality must have some imprint of foreign body during second conception. The child grow with that. Diseases are not only caused by the substance like bacteria, viruses, fungi, toxic matters, etc., as is the main belief in conventional medicine, but that every substance can also cause an imprint in the energetic field of the person. When born, his vital energy carried this imprint through genetic transfer. He failed in learning talk at appropriate age. As parents have obesity, he too land in it. As vitality is under some molecular imprint and its toxins, his energy has some load which in turn must have disturbed the physiological secretions of body, and finally he landed in gynecomastia. Endocrine is the first layer in order of importance to health. Hence, removal of the disease imprint and balancing organ should be the first step. In this case, disturbances happened at endocrine level. Bell's palsy, which might have been considered a neurological imbalance, can commonly arise from hormonal imbalance. So the journey of disease was Bell's palsy, delayed talk, obesity, gynecomastia, which was not observed in the childhood. So I put it on the fourth stage, and ultimately now psoriasis. From neurological trouble to the skin layer now. So my prescription was Medurinum 10 given in aquapotency at 15th May 2018. Why Medurinum? Medurinum, though the king of antipsychotic remedy, covers all the miasm. It has been prescribed as it rectifies the obscure metabolic defects in the mother when her children come in for infantile death one after another, as mentioned by Dr. Ghosh. And second reason was patient had hormonal issue, gynecomastia falls under the psychotic miasm. Hence, I did not prescribe in Cifilinum, I prescribed the Medurinum. When any nosode is prescribed as case opener, hypotency is used. As nosode has pathogenetic origin, it helps to remove the pressure on the immunity, and a homeopath can get the real picture hidden behind the surface symptoms. Everything in this world, plant, animal or mineral, carries its individual essence, which is its identity. By the process of dilution and suction, we liberate their unique individual power, which is used as a medicine. As we go higher in potency, we get increasingly more energy. Low potency can be used when nosode is applied as an intercurrent antimiasmatic remedy to support the constitutional remedy. By July 2018, same dose repeated. In August 2018, I gave him Agaricus 10 aqua dose. Now why Agaricus? Agaricus is a fungus useful in cases of skin disorder, late learning to walk and talk, delayed milestone, good action of neurons because there was a history of Bell's palsy. In October 18, patient was much better, but recovery was very slow, very slow. In December 18, Agaricus Mus 10 aqua dose repeated. Then February 19, recovery good but slow. Then I put Thyroidinum 200, one dose at every 25 days for 2 months was prescribed. Indications were Thyroidinum is a remedy to be considered in cases of arrested development in children as it has a regulatory influence on the mechanism of the organs of nutrition, growth and development. Thyroidinum in low potency is useful in distressing itching of psoriasis. Sarcodes work as a catalyst and speed up the recovery. On these all indications, I decided to give him the Thyroidinum 200. In May 2019, only small patches left on the elbow. In July 2019, I needed my spec to search a spot on abdomen. Everything was almost clear. You can see here. You can see here. The patches, they are reduced. And if you see comparatively, you can see there is reduction in the gynecomastia too. And along with this, he lost 10 kgs weight. But his gynecomastia was not essential or physiological gynecomastia, which I could be able to treat with homeopathy only. So I finally addressed him the surgical removal of this. But yet he has not undergone this surgery. Maybe in future he will plan it. Doses of Sarco. Whatever there is, whenever there is too much or too little of body own substance, that is sarcos, the homeopathic remedy given in ascending potency will bring out the cure. Begin with 30C and go up to 10M. The summary for today's class is, if you have a fight, if you have to fight a battle, you need attack and defense both at the same time. Sarcodes work on defensive mechanism by making the organ strong, and Nosode works by attacking the imprint of disease. You need to be Bahubali. Nosodes and sarcodes play a role of catalyst. They fasten up the recovery and cut short the disease process. So friends, thank you so much for your patience listening. Thank you Yashika. Thank you Dr. Obedullah Hashmi, AHMA, Homeopathy 360 and Mr. Manish Jain for hosting me today. I explained what I could explain in a very simple language. I tried to talk, but still if you have any query, please feel free and ask me. And yes, these are all my details. If you have any hesitation to ask in front of others, you can just mail or WhatsApp me, and please visit my YouTube channel for further more informative videos. Thank you so much. Dear Yashika, all yours.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a great presentation. It's always great to listen to you and learn from you so much. We have so many comments like wonderful information, indications of nosodes and sarcodes cover so beautifully. And they are nicely explained, very informative. Ma'am, there are a few questions. Can we discuss them? Yeah, thank you so much. So first question, I'll start from the beginning. There was a question from Dr. Rajesh. He's asking, after using a nosode, one should wait for at least 2 months. Okay, he's on nosode work. If there is a strong sign of miasm, he wants to ask, or I think he's commenting.
Okay, no problem.
And he's also saying,
yeah.
Dr. Kent is criticized for high potency. When vitality is low, we can use 30C for nosodes or not?
Yes, when vitality is low, you can go with the low potency. I also suggested you to use the nosodes in higher potency only when you know the vitality of your patient. You cannot put the high potency in low vitality. I suggested it during my presentation, Yashika.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There is a question from Dr. Shrishti from Shrishti. One second. Dr. Seema, how to use Ovininum? Please tell about potency, dose, and how long to use for looking good or young.
See, I told you this remedy. There is an indication for Ovininum that it is a useful remedy after the surgical incision of ovary, like PCOD, the surgery done previously for PCOD, and again the patient is suffering from PCOD and consulting you. One indication. The second indication for Ovininum is the climacteric. When at menopause ladies feel that they are losing their libido, then we can use this remedy. And they always for the ovin for all the sarcodes, put the potency medium high, that is 200. In such cases, go with the 200. And if you feel that your patient is responding well to 200 but the recovery is slow, then speed up it with 1M aqua doses. And if you are much confident that your patient is improving very well and you want more recovery fast, then go with the 10M power. But for Ovininum, my suggestion is 200 and 1 m. You can repeat it once in a month.
Thank you so much, ma'am. One question: can you please give your views for difference of between Verita carp, tarantula, and sarcoids in cases of autism or ADHD or any growth issue? In short.
Yeah, actually, today's topic was related only nosodes and sarcoids, my dear friend. But still, I would like to answer you. He has asked three remedies, no? Baraita carp, and the other one is?
Ma'am, tarantula, Beraita carp, and sarcoids.
Okay. See, I don't use that much sarcoids in cases of autism. I use only whenever it is really necessary. I use the two sarcoids mostly in cases of autism, that is serotonin and dopamine. Understand? But for that, you need to have the complete knowledge of dopamine and serotonin. Second thing, Baraita carp, though it is a mineral, but you know that Baraita carp is very restless patient, having impatient, but there is some issues. This patient, Baraita carp is chilly patient. Second, he hides himself. There is lack of confidence, and that's why he moves here and there. There is the reason because there is deficiency of barium in the body. Tarantula is somewhat different remedy. Tarantula is an animal kingdom remedy, and tarantula has the superhuman strength. When it becomes violent, when the autistic patient become violent, you can use tarantula in high potency to control his violence. Baraita carp is a chilly patient, and he always present the picture of frequent cough, cold, coryza, fever, and tonsillitis. There is always glandular affection in Baraita carp, but in tarantula you won't get glandular affection. In fact, you will get a lot of restlessness. The patient is not able even to sit at one place during eating. All the time he is moving here and there, and he is highly destructive. He loves to disturb the things. He loves to tease others. He loves to distract the class. During class, he will do something wrong with the other children. And in cases of autism, use it only when you have the clear-cut indications of distraction, hyperexcitability of neurons, restlessness, along with the superhuman strength. Then only you can use the tarantula. Now coming to the serotonin and dopamine, I have other sarcoids also which I am using for autism. Like I do use sometimes GABA or acetylcholine or ACTH, which is not available in India presently. But in India, we usually get serotonin and dopamine. You can use these remedies in cases of autism. Mostly, there is a difference between autism and ADHD. In cases of ADHD, I require dopamine. Why dopamine? Because the precursor of dopamine usually do not let the body secrete dopamine in a proper way. And when you have the lack of secretion, any dopamine and serotonin, they both are neurotransmitter. And you know, we have two brains. One is logical brain and one is emotional brain. And there are three cables which connect these two brains. And these three cables are dopamine, serotonin, and noradrenaline. If there is any disturbance or any lack of secretion of these three neurotransmitter, then your patient may suffer from autism and ADHD. So in such cases, if you want to use these sarcoids, then you should be really very smart and you should be really very much skillful with full knowledge. So in my practice or in my lectures, I usually suggest to all doctors not to take the psychiatric cases or neuropsychiatric cases until and unless you have the 10 years experience of homeopathy and a good knowledge of psychiatry. So I think I was able to explain the difference between these three.
Thank you, ma'am. There is another question. Can gray hair be cured by thyroidinum if it's since childhood or early age?
I cannot claim like this. I just suggested the some written information given by the stalwart, but I cannot claim like this that you can cure it. But of course, you can use it. See, every person is a different. Every patient is a new patient, as mentioned in aphorism 83 by Dr. Hahnemann. So you should look at every patient as a new patient. So if you want, you can apply this to the patient along with his constitutional remedy. And always there is a reason behind everything. Why there is gray hair since childhood? Is it due to thyroid involvement? Is it due to some other hormonal involvement or some other organ involvement? Like sometimes, as you know, Yashika, we have this psychiatric patient, but this psychiatric disorder actually start, or the heart cardiac disorder actually start in the liver. And let me tell you one more thing, because I just was telling about serotonin. Though it is the cable working as a cable in our brain, but the funny thing is that brain do not secrete the serotonin. It is secreted in our intestine. So you have to overlook the case and you have to understand which system is in the trouble, because you are seeing the external things, you are watching at the hairs of the patient, but you need to observe which system is under crisis and you need to report it. So you can use thyroidinum, but along with the constitutional remedy. As I already told you, the thyroidinum or other sarcodes you can use as a support remedies. Any more question, beta?
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, another question. Why Medeorinum is not used, as history was abusing hormonal treatment? In the case you discussed, Medeorinum was not used. Why so, ma'am? Dr. Srishti wants to know.
Pardon. Actually, I couldn't understand your question.
Yeah, in this case, why Medeorinum was not used, as history was abusing the hormonal treatment?
In which case? The first one, the ladies' case?
Second one. The second one, I think. Second one.
In second one, I already used Medeorinum, the skin case. And I gave the justification why I used Medeorinum. Even I justified the purpose.
Maybe she was asking why Medeorinum was used. Or Dr. Srishti, can you please pose the question again if and elaborate so that we can discuss? Ma'am, there is another question for the time being. Dr. Ethel Mehta wants to know, infertility case due to AMH deficiency, anti-mullerian hormone, any specific nosode or sarcode?
Yes. In such cases, two sarcodes really work. One is, first is obviously thyroidinum. It really works in all types of gynec cases. And the other sarcode is psychotico. This is dysentrica, some remedy. Psychotico you can consider, then you can consider the ovininum also. You can consider folliculinum. The best sarcodes in all gynec cases is thyroidinum and folliculinum. Don't forget them to use.
Thank you, ma'am. Another question from Dr. Srishti only. Can we use dopamine as homeopathic remedy in cases of Parkinsonism disease?
Yes. For Parkinsonism, we have many other homeopathic good remedies. Like I already told you about GABA or GHB. There are other remedies which are not available in India. So forget about it. But yes, you can use dopamine homeopathic remedy in cases of Parkinsonism, but only if it is suitable to your picture.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Srishti is saying that in the case you used Ovirinum, she's asking of that case.
Ovirinum, I didn't prescribe Ovirinum, my dear friend. She must be confusing. She is confused.
So you were just explaining, Dr. Srishti, ma'am was just explaining she used Medeorinum only.
No, I think she is talking about the first case of Candida albicans. I gave Candida albicans as a nosode because patient was suffering from Candida infection. But along with that, I put thyroidinum to her because in the past history, she has taken lot of hormonal pills. And for that, along with that, the other symptoms of the patient were suggesting thyroid. So it is not the rule if you have the history of hormonal pills taken. So in all the patients you are going to put Medeorinum. It is not the rule. If it is suitable to other symptoms and the totality of the patient, then you will put Medeorinum. Otherwise you will put other sarcodes also. I think now it is clear for Srishti. Is it okay, Srishti?
Yeah. I think she must have a clear idea now. So we have no more questions, ma'am. I think we have Dr. Hashmi sir who have joined us. So I want to request him that if he wants to comment on today's session, how and whatever, if he has any queries, so he can ask. Sir, your audio is off. Sir, your audio is off. Audio is off. Oh, I think he left. He'll join again. Yeah, ma'am, Srishti, Dr. Srishti is like she's saying thank you. Her query was resolved.
Thank you.
Ma'am, there is a question from Dr. Alpa Shukla for ringworm and its recurrence. Can you suggest something?
Alpa, see, I cannot suggest according to every disease, my dear. I have gave you, see, I am trying to explain how to fish. If I'll give ready fish in your platter, you will never learn how to fish. So I try to teach you the concepts, how to select the remedies. Now it is up to you for every disease. Patient is sitting in front of your chamber, in front of you in your chamber. So there you are the boss. You have to select your remedies according to you. There nobody is coming to help you. No Kent, no Herring, no Kavita Chandak, no Yashika Arora, and no Obed Hashmi. So you are the king in your chamber. Decide it according to your knowledge, my dear.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think sir joined joined us. After so many technical problems, he is always there to.
And you know,
join us.
Afghanistan has the great issues of internet.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sir, are you with us? I think he needs to refresh again. Sir, are you with us? So by the time sir joins, I want to announce that tomorrow we have session from Dr. Kamlesh Mehta sir on another innovative topic, perceiving a homeopathic key. So, and also Dr. Ubadullah Lashmi sir will be discussing about the status of homeopathy as well as the present status of homeopathy in Afghanistan and what all they are doing and what all you can suggest. So it would be an interactive session. So I hope everybody would be joining us tomorrow again at 3 o'clock. We'll have Dr. Kamlesh Mehta first and then Dr. Ubadullah Alashmi sir for the session. I sir joined again. Sir, you are able to hear?
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are visible and audible. Welcome. Welcome back. So please continue.
Am I audible?
I think he left again. Some technical errors. Ma'am, you want to share something on behalf of AHMA or you want to give a message for homeopaths so we can come to the end of the session before that?
Yes, thank you, AHMA. And I would like to say that I think Dr. Hashmi has joined us. So let him talk.
Yeah, he has joined us. Sir?
Ask him to.
Really, really sorry. Sorry. Yes, please. Being discussed. because I'm not in the Europe and America, not in India. This is Afghanistan. It's a great blessing that we and all by Professor Mehta and more participants to Mother Professor Mehta, everyone for joining this special all Afghanistan salutes all the speakers and all audience in the world who is online, who is not. We really love we love homeopaths, and we
Thank you so much, sir. I think sir left, ma'am. So you can give a message and then we'll wind up the session. Yes, ma'am. Sir joined again. Sir, you want to continue? I think now it's better and you can speak. The voice was breaking before.
Okay. Let me repeatedly once again tell you that we are so lucky to have Professor Dr. Kavita Chandak in this platform, and especially the first webinar series of the AHMA associated with the Homeopathy 360 BGN group of companies. And I really want to say thank you all participants to be with us since 7 of October 2020. And tomorrow we have the last session by Professor Dr. Mehta Sahab, and I will be in the. My presentation will be after Dr. Mehta for the conclusion of this series. And thank you all participants. Thank you, Dr. Yashika, and thank you everyone. I have no words. I have no words for Dr. Kavita Chandak. She is the proud of AHMA. She is the proud of all homeopaths and the homeopathic profession.
Thank you so much, sir. I want to say something.
Nothing, Yashika. I have already talked for more than the time. I think almost 2 hours. So it is all yours now. Okay?
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So I hope the audience will join us tomorrow again. Thank you so much, audience, for your patient listening. And see you tomorrow is the last day of this event. And after that, the people who have attended all the sessions will be receiving the certificates tomorrow. And so I think everybody will join tomorrow again. To learn from Kamlesh sir as well as Ashmi sir. So thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for your contribution and sparing out time today. Thank you, thank you 360. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Welcome. Welcome. God bless everyone. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Bye.